A very good evening and thank you for joining GBS News at 9. My name is Stephen George and our sign language interpreter tonight is Paul Mandenge. We have a lot lined up for you tonight, but first, here are the highlights.
Mheshimiwa Deputy President, waheshimiwa gavana wetu na wabunge, ndugu wananchi wa Meru, hamjambo. Mogeni kaire. Bwana Yesu asifiwe.
President Ruto launches the third human wildlife compensation in Meru County for locals who had suffered a loss through human wildlife conflict. 21 black rhinos moved to Segera in a major conservation breakthrough. Russia attacks Ukraine for the third night in a row.
It has been a hectic season, not as smooth as last season was, but we thank God that we are here. The girls have tried, they've pushed themselves.
The Kenya Police Bullets are FKF Women's Premier League champions, once again wrapping up their season with a statement win in Nakuru.
President William Ruto today launched the third human wildlife compensation in Meru County for locals who had suffered a loss through human wildlife conflict. In the event, the Kenya Wildlife Service partnered with the Kenya Commercial Bank to launch a wildlife conservation card.
Mheshimiwa Deputy President, waheshimiwa gavana wetu na wabunge, ndugu wananchi wa Meru, hamjambo.
It was a sigh of relief to the residents of Meru County who had suffered as a result of human-wildlife conflict, as President William Ruto launched the third phase of the human-wildlife conflict in Meru County today.
Aya, huyu Jacinta Kairuthi Kibiti kutoka Kerwa anapata cheki ya shilingi milioni 2,500,000. Na mjumbe yake yuko area hapo. Asante sana mama. Walipoteza maisha yao ama walijeruhiwa ama mifugo yao iliwa na wanyama ama mimea yao. Asante sana, na sasa wale wengine wote checks zao ziko tayari.
President said the government, through the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife and the Kenya Wildlife Service, fenced national parks as a mitigation measure to human-wildlife conflict.
Jambo la ine ambayo tumefanya in the last 2 years ni kuongeza ua ama fencing ili kumitigate ile interaction ya wananchi na mimea yao na mifugo yao na wanyama. Vile mlisikia waziri akisema, tumejenga ua kilomita 200 kufikia sasa. Muliona nilikuwa kule Laikipia tukianzisha one of the fencing interventions. Na mumetuuliza kwamba katika Meru hapa tulikuwa na fence, lakini it is now 15 years. Imeenda chini. So we must look at another opportunity kuweka fence hapa Meru, ndio tupunguze ile wanyama wanaenda kuharibu mali, mimea pamoja na mifugo ya wananchi. So I am giving instructions to the ministry to look for the necessary resources so that we can find the resources to fence off parts of Meru that are important, especially to reduce on the human-wildlife conflict.
He further asked responsible stakeholders in wildlife management to change the modus operandi.
Ndio mwaka uliopita nikaamurisha wizara yetu nikawaambia we need to change the modus operandi. We need to tubadilishe. Ndio tuhakikishe ya kwamba fidia inalipwa in the shortest time possible. Na ndio sababu hiyo tumepeleka sasa mambo ya fidia katika mrengo wa dijitali. Na hata wale tunawalipa leo, kati ya wale tunawalipa leo ni wale tunawafidia leo ni wale walipata matatizo mwaka uliopita na huo mwaka mwingine. So we are going to be blending. Tutakuwa tunalipa ile ya zamani, lakini vile vile tunataka tuanze kulipa ile current. And those are my instructions to the ministry. We must modernize so that we can reduce on human-wildlife conflict.
The event's highlight was the launch of a wildlife conservation card by the Kenya Commercial Bank through a public-private partnership.
And look for innovative ways to finance the conservation commitment that we have, which includes activities like what has happened here today. So, Your Excellency, we would like to introduce to you the first partnership we have is with the Kenya Commercial Bank, and the Group CEO, Mr. Paul Russo, is here with us, and we are really grateful for this partnership to bring private sector to partner with conservation. And today, the bank and the KCB Foundation, in partnership with the Ministry and the Wildlife Conservation Trust Fund, we are launching a prepaid conservation card. And this card will be given to people who voluntarily take the card as a prepaid card through KCB, and we have 3 tiers of that card. We have a platinum card, which has an emblem of the elephant, and with every transaction...
2, 1, the launch of the card, the KCB Debit Conservation Card. Congratulations, congratulations on that card. And that, Your Excellency, will mark the end of our session today. If I may also just request one photo for all CSs and PSs present, all CSs and PSs present, to kindly just come and join His Excellency together with those on stage for one photo before we wind up with the anthem. And at that point, we'll all exit stage.
Also present were Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, Meru Governor Isaac Mutuma, Women Rep Elizabeth Kalima, and the Kenya Wildlife Service Director General Erastus Kaga.
Tunashukuru ya kwamba mara ya 3 kwa exercise ya Human Wildlife Conflict Compensation umechagua kuileta Meru. Tunajua Kenya ni kubwa. Kenya is made up of 47 counties, na umechagua Meru County ikiwa ni county ya 3 kuleta exercise ama compensation exercise kama hii hapa kwetu.
Wildlife drives to guide animals away from people's farms, and we conducted 235 community conservation education sessions to inform and protect local.
Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has stated that Juja constituency lawmaker George Koimburi was poisoned and tortured before his body being dumped into a coffee farm plantation. The act, which the former DP has stated that it has been been done by professionals, stating that the torturer has damaged his normal state. Koimburi, who was abducted after attending a church service in his constituency, is a close ally to the former DP and has a thorn in the Kenya Kwanza administration.
Juja Member of Parliament George Koimburi was found dumped at a coffee plantation today in Kiambu County. Koimburi was reportedly captured by the unknown individuals outside a church in Mugudha, Kiambu County on Sunday, and his wife, Anne Koimburi, was injured during the scuffle. The incident, which has been criticized by the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, stating that Koimburi's abduction is due to his political stand.
And they have confirmed that the Honorable George Koimburi was tortured by professionals. He has serious soft tissue injuries. This is torture normally done by professionals. He has lost his voice, and the doctors are working round the clock to restore his vocal cords. And the Honorable Koimburi has been able to communicate through writing because he is not able to speak.
The Directorate of Criminal Investigations, also abbreviated as DCI, has denied any involvement in the abductions, though it confirmed that Koimburi has been sought since Friday in connection with the alleged land fraud and misuse of constituency development funds.
Nao wenye walikuwa nje wakaanza kunigonga. Nikaweza kusikia ni kama nimeganda mkono na nikamwachilia mume wangu mguu, ndio nilikuwa nimemshika mguu, so nikaondokea. ama wakanirusha nje, wakanisukuma nje, na hapo wakafunga mlango na wakaweza proceed.
Ms. Koimburi expressed frustrations over the situation, noting previous occasion when authorities took her husband's phone and vehicles during the investigations but failed to provide clarity on his whereabouts. Davis Karani for GBS News, Nairobi.
Teachers' Union in Siaya are demanding the immediate recall of County Director of Education Leonard Mbugua Kabaki, accusing him of disrespecting education stakeholders and financial misconduct. Led by NATSIA Executive Secretary Alex Dunga and Kupet Sam Opondo, the union have petitioned the Principal Secretary for Basic Education, Professor Julius Bitok, to intervene. They are also calling for a forensic audit of the co-curricular funds managed by the Director's office over the past 3 months. The petition alleges Kabaki has mismanaged education affairs, harassed school heads, and interfered with tender process by favoring specific firms. The unions also claim he colluded with the Kenya Education Management Institute, KEMI, to impose high training fees on school heads.
We have prepared a memorandum for the Principal Secretary, Ministry of Education, State Department for Basic Education, on the conduct of the County Director of Education, Siaya, Mr. Leonard Mbugua Kabaki. There are a number of issues, a number of grievances that the teachers and the stakeholders of Siaya have against the County Director of Education, Mr. Mbugua Kabaki. The first grievance that we have as education stakeholders from Siaya is harassment of principals and heads of institutions by Mr. Leonard Mbugua Kabaki, the County Director of Education, Siaya. He is on record physically engaging in verbal combat with our heads of institutions in Siaya. He also engages with them on social media platforms, official social media platforms, where he engages them in a very unprofessional manner. In general, we say he has a distinction in poor relations with all the stakeholders of education in Siaya County. He is also at loggerheads with school sponsors. Churches are also up in arms. It is my belief that the churches are also going to come up, and we're also going to hear their voice, so that it can be truly confirmed that Mr. Leonard Mbugua Kabaki has failed Siaya County on matters education in totality.
The County Director of Education is usurping the role of the Board of Management
Of our schools.
by usurping the powers of Board of Management, who should award contracts to schools. Contractors to schools. And let me tell you, and I'm giving an example of KPIL. He gave a directive that all institutions, those he has interest in, will not award contract to the contractors. He is coming with a list of identified contractors that the school must choose from it. That is against the public procurement law. Yes. Very much against it.
And he did it.
And he did it. So we are saying he must be having vested interest in the list of the contractors that he's sending to those institutions.
Correct.
Small and medium enterprise owners have urged to seize opportunities presented by the government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Speaking during a business training session in Siaya, the CEO of 20X Entrepreneur, Eunice Mburu, emphasized the potential of government programs like the Affordable Housing Initiative to empower local entrepreneurs and drive economic growth. With over 200 participants in attendance, the session aimed to equip business owners with skills to tap into national development projects and combat unemployment.
Small and medium enterprise owners have been challenged to take advantage of the government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda to improve entrepreneurship. According to the Chief Executive Officer of the 20 Times Entrepreneur, Eunice Mburu, the government's programs were offering opportunities that, if well tapped, could see most micro, small, and medium enterprises grow into entities that will solve the country's unemployment problems. Speaking at St. Peter's ACK Cathedral in Siaya Town during a training session for over 200 small-scale businessmen, Mburu gave an example of the affordable housing program that was offering opportunities to various professionals in different parts of the country.
Every new government comes with opportunities. Now, the current government is focusing on affordable housing. They're calling it the BITA, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, and it's looking at the housing, giving people decent housing. Now, if you look at housing, it creates a lot of jobs. Because if you imagine, like in Siaya, I've seen that I don't know where they started, but there's a project on Alego, Usonga, about 882 units. So if you look at 882 units, what does that mean to a carpenter in Siaya? How many doors will be needed in 882 units? How many windows? How many electricians will be needed? So you can see how it creates jobs.
The participants, led by Stephen Omondi, Esther Achieng, and Crispin Ongo, hailed the training as timely, adding that it was an eye-opener for them. They call for more training opportunities for the small enterprise owners.
The only thing which I would like to request them that this one should not be the first and the last. We should collaborate and do more things. And if possible, they can even bring in the financiers who can help us improve our financial status. Because many of us are able to get these jobs and how to finance them is a problem.
Really to bring us to another level, something of that kind. And even when she's talking about issue of housing, recently I was at the housing site, and I was really blessed on the project that is going on there, issue of 20X. I believe in the next 3 to 4 months, I will never be the same way I am right now.
Kitamo. Na yale yenye nimejifunza leo, nimejifunza vile tunaweza pata pesa mingi. Vile tunaweza pata pesa mingi, vile tunaweza fanya kazi pamoja, tukue na pesa. Tumepewa maarifa ya kutafuta pesa, ya kutafuta biashara zingine, na tumefundishwa pia kuunganisha hiyo biashara iwe moja, ama kama tuko watu wengi, mtu mmoja hawezi fanya biashara, hawezi pata pesa.
Through its program, Chanuka Jipange na Opportunities, 20 Times Entrepreneur, has conducted targeted skill training aimed at bridging the gap between small and micro enterprise owners and the available government opportunities. Susan Nganga, GBS News, Siaya County.
It is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into our social media platform at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 2114. We'll be right back.
What is always before you but can't be seen?
Kudiscover talent.
Kudiscover. Ulijuangaje like unaweza imba, like yeah.
Kini Trace Jumi Kipchoge kwa ngoma na mfala wananidis na wanabonga kwa ngoma, mafanjo wananipenda ndo nazidi kwa roga, wenye walenjaribu mazee walishachoka na nikozabe meditation naendelesha generation niliofanya kalki.
Wewe at 1 year old ulikuwa unafanya nini? You're feeling the vibe. Ulitoa a few days ago, unaweza taka utuambie like ulikuwa unafikiria nini when you came up with the lyrics? Yeah.
So I'm doing my thing. Don't try and stop me when I'm doing my thing. I'm tryna boss, let me do my thing. And if you're tryna win, you can be on my team. Yeah, so I'm doing my thing. Don't try and stop me when I'm doing my thing. I'm tryna boss, let me do my thing.
You feel like you're young at heart, I'm an old soul. If you could only listen to one singer or band for the rest of your life, who would you choose?
Anza wiki yako kwa njia sahihi kwa GBS Jumatatu.
Niko nawe hadi mida ya saa 4 asubuhi. Kwanza niseme asante kwa kuzidi kufuatilia na kutazama vipindi vyetu. ambavyo huwa tunakuandalia hapa ndani ya GBS TV Jumatatu. People are now seeing the money that have been given to church as a bribe.
Jiunge nasi kila Jumatatu asubuhi kuanzia saa 1:30.
Nimesikia mwenzangu akifanya hesabu hapo ya vile ambavyo miungano zitakuwa. Ruto is going to fail whether with Raila or without Raila.
Kuna mahali anakosea akisema ati Raila na Ruto wataungana. Hakuna kuungana iko hapo, ndugu yangu, aje nikwambie ukweli.
Hadithi za kunoga.
Ukiangalia Wakenya, wananchi wa Kenya, pia hao maisha yao imedhulumiwa kwa kuongezwa kwa taxes, ziko very high taxes. So the statement by Rigathi Gachagua is just statement ya kumcheck that we can see you we can see between the lines.
Na mazungumzo yenye nguvu ya kukuletea utulivu kwa wiki yako.
Ati Raila ataingia UDA
hapo no, hiyo ni ndoto. Mimi yote nasema hawezi, sababu nasema hivi mheshimiwa, ikiwa Raila
itakuwa, mimi naona itakuwa
hadi saa 4 za asubuhi kwa majadiliano ya kusisimua.
Mheshimiwa Rais William Samoei Ruto ajue ya kwamba sasa yeye ni president wa Kenya. Sio mambo ya kufanyia wana Kenya mzaha. Kupoteza biashara kwa siku moja katika CPD, nafikiria ni jambo ambalo ni rahisi.
Usikose, ingia kwenye GBS TV. Anza Jumatatu yako kwa kusudi.
If the government does not spend, my brother, hakuna maendeleo inaonekana, hakuna barabara zinatengenezwa, hakuna dawa kwa hospitali, my friend, economies will not grow.
Tuonane panapo majaliwa yake Mwenyezi Mungu.
GBS Jumatatu, palipo mjadala wa leo na mwelekeo wa kesho.
Hello boys and girls, how are you today? Because I am very, very happy. So we are on Kids Mind on GBS TV.
Today we're going to make ta-da! A boba tea letter set.
We are moving to singing class.
Skinamarinky dinky ding, skinamarinky doo. I love you. The tortoise and the hare. Friends, do you know about this story?
Now you're finished to make.
Enjoy yourselves, everybody.
Everywhere, GBS.
And welcome back now to international news. South Africa's Julius Malema responds to Trump's claim of genocide by doubling down. Now, South African politician Julius Malema, the leader of the Radical Economic Freedom Fighters Party, responded to President Donald Trump's claim about genocide on Wednesday by reiterating calls to kill white farmers, as David Karani reports.
The South African vibrant opposition leader Julius Malema has stated that he cannot be scared by Trump's statement of urging President Cyril Ramaphosa to arrest him due to the statement that he had released during his campaigns about shedding of blood, which Trump showed a video to Cyril Ramaphosa about Malema's chant to kill the Boer, kill the farmer, and shoot to kill.
I will never be intimidated by Donald Trump. They were speaking about me in that meeting at White House. If they were not gossiping about me, they should have called me into that meeting. I would have answered everything that Donald Trump wanted from us.
A video which Ramaphosa tried to argue that Malema's rhetoric did not represent the government's policies, but Trump countered that South Africa had passed a law allowing expropriation of land without compensation, that it had racially discriminatory laws, and that thousands of white farmers were attempting to leave the US, which Malema reacted angrily.
You were told that this organization is dying and it's a useless organization. And it only took Donald Trump to remind all of you that this is not a small organization. It was Donald Trump who said to Cyril Ramaphosa, you can't say this is a small organization because it is the only organization in South Africa that filled up FNB Stadium, and he said he never saw an empty seat. There were 100,000 people and more at the FNB Stadium. Why would you say yourself, as a fighter and a ground force, that your organization is a dying organization when the White House says this is the biggest organization in Africa and in South Africa?
Ramaphosa and his delegation tried to minimize the role of Malema and the EFF in South African politics, describing them to Trump as small and marginal opposition party. But the EFF won nearly 10% of the votes in the most recent general elections, making it the fourth biggest party, right behind the similarly radical Umkhonto we Sizwe, also abbreviated as MK Party, at nearly 15%.
Ramaphosa could not defend South Africa. The whole president of South Africa, he go America and say in America there is a crime in South Africa. Yes, we know that, but why do you say it in America? Because if you say it in America, they will no longer come to South Africa as tourists. Ramaphosa has killed the tourism of South Africa when he declared crime at the White House. It doesn't matter who we are. When we go outside South Africa, especially in front of imperialism, we must close ranks. That Rupert goes and speak bad about his DA in White House in an attempt to impress his masters. We don't like John, we don't like DA, but don't speak bad about them to Trump.
Davis Karani, GBS News.
Great story there by Davis Karani. Now, Russia has attacked Ukraine for the third night in a row. Ukrainian regional officials and emergency services said a day after the biggest aerial attack of the war so far killed at least 12 people and drew condemnation from the U.S. President Donald Trump. The air raid alert lasted 6 hours in Kyiv. Here's more on the story.
Russia launched a combined aerial attack on Kyiv overnight, marking one of the largest assaults on the Ukrainian capital in 3 years. Dozens of drones and ballistic missiles targeted the city, damaging several apartments, buildings, and injuring at least 15 people. Witnesses saw and heard successful waves of drones flying over Kyiv, and a series of explosions jolted the city. Ukraine's Air Force reported that Russia fired 14 ballistic missiles and launched 250 long-range drones overnight, primarily targeting Kyiv. The Kyiv City Military Administration reported damage across 6 districts of the Ukrainian capital. There was no immediate comment from Russia on the overnight attacks. Despite these attacks, both Ukraine and Russia have agreed to a request from U.S. President Donald Trump to hold a fresh peace talks. This follows a major pre-dawn exchange on Friday, which Trump hailed as a step towards positive developments. However, accusations between Moscow and Kyiv persist, questioning each other's commitment to ending the conflict. The strikes followed several days of Ukrainian drone attacks inside Russia, prompting Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov to vow relation on Friday. Reporting for GBS News, I'm Paul M. Miner.
U.S. President Donald Trump has sharply criticized Russian President Putin following Russia's largest aerial assault on Ukraine since the full-scale invasion began in 2022. Speaking on Sunday, Trump said he's not happy with what Putin is doing, referring to a wave of overnight strikes in which Russia launched 367 drones and missiles across Ukraine. The attacks left at least 12 people dead, including children, and dozens more injured, sparking renewed global concern over Russia's escalating aggression. The president revealed that he had recently spoken with Putin, who had reportedly promised to halt strikes on critical infrastructure, a promise now clearly broken. Trump warned that such actions not only undermine diplomacy, but also risk drawing Russia into deep isolation and economic collapse. In a response to the attacks, Trump hinted at a possible new sanctions against Russia and reiterated that the war would never have started had he been president earlier. As the international community urges a ceasefire, Trump emphasized that his administration is working to pressure Russia into negotiations while reaffirming American support for Ukrainian sovereignty. The deadly strikes mark a dangerous turn in the conflict, with pressure mounting on Putin to de-escalate.
He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him. But he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all. He's killing a lot of people. I don't know what's wrong with him. What the hell happened to him, right? He's killing a lot of people. I'm not happy about that.
The royal family will be traveling to Ottawa, Canada for a two-day historic visit, starting today, Monday 26th, till tomorrow 27th. This will be the King Charles' first visit to Canada since he was enthroned. During the visit, the King will attend the state opening of Parliament of Canada alongside the Queen.
Bon voyage, au Canada.
Only 5 days after being presented with the key to the Canadian House by the High Commissioner Ralph Goodell, King Charles will be landing in Ottawa, Canada today, the 26th of May to Tuesday, 27th of May, for a two-day visit. The trip will begin with a community event in Ottawa, celebrating Canada's cultural diversity. British monarch will then meet Canadians from across the country, including individuals from a range of organizations. The key highlight of the visit will be the King's attendance and opening of the 45th session of the Canadian Parliament alongside the Queen. Here, the King will deliver a historic speech as the British monarch, while Queen Camilla will be sworn in as a member of the Canadian Party Council in a brief ceremony. The royal family will also meet Governor General Mary Simon and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. King Charles last visited Canada in 2022 as the Prince of Wales, when he and Princess Camilla marked Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee. Victor
It is time for your most favorite segment of the show, the sports news. Let's get sporty. Kenya delivered outstanding performances at the Rabat Wonder Diamond League in May 2025, further cementing its reputation in global athletics and showcasing the role of sports in diplomacy. Beatrice Chebet, the double Olympic champion, ran a sensational 3,000 meters race, clocking 8 hours, 11 minutes and 56 seconds. This time is the second fastest ever recorded in the event, highlighting her exceptional talent and endurance. Here is more on that.
Kenya's athletes once again proved their dominance on the global athletics stage at the Rabat Wonder Diamond League meet held over the weekend. The standard performance came from Beatrice Chebet with the historic run in the women's 3,000 meters. Chebet crossed the finish line in an astonishing 8 minutes 11.56 seconds. The second fastest time ever recorded in the event's history. This remarkable feat broke the African record and set a new Diamond League record, placing Chebet among all-time greats in the distance running. In the sprints, Ferdinand Omanyala continued to shine, finishing a close second in the 100 meters with a time of 10.05 seconds. Nelly Jepchirir won the middle distance women's 1,500 meters in a season's best 3 hours 58 minutes and 4 seconds.
I'm very proud for taking this position because last year I was position 3 and I was not expecting this. So I appreciate so much the crowd, especially the Kenyan, most of them, and I support you for cheering us. And I am participating mostly in 1500 and 800. So next after year I'm going to Rabat for 800.
Reynold Cheriot and Festus Lagat secured podium finishes, finishing second and third respectively.
First of all, I want to thank God for giving me strength so that I win this race of today. You know me, the best for 5,000 today was favoring me, so I decided to stay in the middle until the last 400. I decided to kick, you know, understand me, I'm running 1500, so I decided to kick the last 400, yeah.
In the men's 3,000 steeplechase, Edmund Seram took third place, demonstrating Kenya's continued excellence. Finally, in the men's 800 meters, Olympic champion Emmanuel Anyonyi finished third, adding to Kenya's medal tally.
Now, we head to Togo, where the 30th Tour Cycling International came to a dramatic finish over the course of 9 stages and 1,300 kilometers. The country pulsed with the energy of world-class cycling, and at the heart of it all, a stunning performance by Team Mali, with Diarra Sidiki riding into history in the yellow jersey. It was a tour marked by great teamwork and a powerful display of regional talent. Here's more on the story.
The 30th edition of the Tour Cycling du Togo came to a thrilling close as Mali's Diarra Sidiki claimed the yellow jersey after 9 demanding stages and 1,300 kilometers of racing. With his teammate Diamotin Tiamoko finishing second, Mali delivered a commanding team performance that defined this year's tour.
The start of the tour was very difficult for us. One of the difficulties was the injury to our captain. Despite that, I was able to get the yellow jersey. The end was happy for us. The tour was a success for the Malian team.
From the mountains of Koza to the streets of Lom, they rode through dust, heat, and roaring crowds. Riders from across West Africa and Europe brought intensity and passion, while towns along the route turned the race into a national celebration of sport and unity.
With a 9-stage route, we were able to start in the north, ride slowly down to Lome, and discover the sublime landscapes of Togo, which I hadn't had the chance to get to know at the time. So it was a real pleasure, with both flat and mountain stages. Just about every type of rider was involved.
More than just a race, this tour marked a leap forward for African cycling. With better organization, global participation, and growing excitement, the Tour du Togo is now a key event on the continent's cycling calendar.
You say that so-and-so is going to win, someone else comes out. It's a bit like the Burkina team. There is a lot of potential in the different teams. It augurs well for the future.
With the 30th edition done and dusted, the story does not end here. The road to the 31st edition is already calling. Elvin Muyodi.
Big news in the world of football. The draw for the FIFA Under-17 World Cup 2025 has just taken place in Doha, Qatar. This exciting youth tournament will feature 48 teams for the first time in FIFA history and will run from the 3rd of November to the 27th of November. A big day for Brazilian football. Carlo Ancelotti, one of the world's most famous coaches, has finally arrived in Rio de Janeiro. He is set to become the first foreign coach in over 100 years to lead Brazil's national team full-time. Ancelotti landed just hours after a new president was elected to lead Brazil's Football Confederation. It's a major change at the top of Brazilian football.
Carlo Ancelotti has arrived in Brazil to begin his job as the new head coach of the national football team. He is the first foreign coach to lead Brazil full-time in over 100 years. Ancelotti landed in Rio de Janeiro Sunday night with his family and coaching team. He will officially take over the national team when he announces the Brazilian squad for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers. On the same day, Samir Saud was elected the new president of the Brazilian Football Confederation. His win comes after a long legal fight and the removal of the former president, Elando Rodrigues.
The arrival of the new coach, Ancelotti, I believe it will be an important starting point for this process. I do believe that he will do an excellent job here at the CBF, together with the Brazilian national team. And so we'll be able to bring the public, the fans, closer to the CBF and bring back the love, passion, and desire to watch a national team match.
Reporting for GBS News, I'm Klein Mongai.
The Kenya Police Bullets are FKF Women Premier League champions once again, wrapping up their season with a statement win in Nakuru. It was a commanding finish to a tough campaign, with head coach Bethlehem Odemba praising her team's resilience through what she called a hectic season, as our sports reporter Elvis Muyodi reports.
Kenya Police Bullets have successfully defended the FKF Women's Premier League title, closing out the 2024-2025 season with a decisive 4-0 win over Trinity Starlets at Afraha Stadium in Nakuru on Sunday. Striker Rebecca Okwaro played a central role in the final match, assisting the opener in the 44th minute with a long pass to Emily Moranga, and later setting up the second goal, a cross from defender Lea Andiema that forced an own goal by Trinity's Major Marcelina in the 55th minute. Okwaro went on to score twice in the 68th and 85th minutes respectively, bringing her season tally to 16 goals. The result capped off a strong campaign for the side under coach Beldino Demba, who termed the season as hectic.
It has been a hectic season, not as smooth as last season was, but we thank God that we are here. The girls have tried, they've pushed themselves. And I will say that I'm very happy because the Kenya Women Premier League is really gaining something. And we can see that the competition is getting tougher every day. That's why in this season, we've seen that we've won it, but with a difference of only 2 points.
The law enforcers finished the season with 46 points from 21 matches, with 13 wins, 7 draws, and only 1 defeat. The league victory earns them a spot in the upcoming CAF Women's Champions League regional qualifier set for August, with CAF yet to confirm the host country for the tournament. Elvin Muyodi, GBS Sports.
Kenya has launched a historic rhino translocation initiative, moving 21 critically endangered black rhinos to Sigera Conservancy in Laikipia County. Led by Kenya Wildlife Service and the ZITS Foundation and witnessed by top government and conservation leaders, the move aims to ease pressure on overcrowded sanctuaries and expand safe habitats as part of a bold plan to secure the species' future. Here's more on the same.
As a pivot to new habitats for the species, relieving pressure from overcrowded sanctuaries such as Ol Pejeta,
Kenya Police Bullets have successfully defended the FKF Women's Premier League
for this
title.
initiative.
Well, we have come to the end of the news bulletin. It is always a pleasure having you on board. Let's do this again next time. Send channel. We make your news our business. My name is Stephen George, and our sign language interpreter tonight has been Paul Madenge. Good night.